For programming assignment 4, we are going to work with an MU frame that uses the GUI designer to build a form that has several text fields in which the user will enter data and a text area in which we will display output and buttons to do things. So first of all, I wanted to show you that if we create a brand new project here, I'm going to click on the new project icon. So a new Java with Ant Java application. And I'm saving it in my CSC 120 Java folder. I'm going to call this No Graphics Example. Okay. So that's the name of my project. And let me change to the files view here. Now, so what I've done previously then over here in my 120 Java folder, I previously downloaded the MU frame with GUI designer.zip from the class resources page, and I extract all, so I get this folder MU frame with GUI designer folder. Okay, and then we go into that, and here are the 3 files that make up the starter program that we use. So if I copy all 3 files, right click and copy, and then I can go into NetBeans and I can right click on the source folder and paste. And of course the .frame file is also there, but it only shows the Java files in this view. Now, let's say though that I don't need an MU panel. The MU panel is only needed if you have graphics that you're going to work with. So we don't need to have the MU panel. If I go into the MU frame, if I double click on that and then go to source, what you'll see here is that there is an object called MU panel here that's declared, and then I have a couple lines in the constructor of the MU frame that links the panel to the frame. So when I run the frame, I have this white area here that says hello world. Okay, so that's a graphics panel. Well, if I'm writing a program in which I don't need any graphics, I don't need the MU panel. So I can go into my project with Windows a File Explorer, I should say. So what did I call it? No graphics example. So I'll go in here, go into the source folder. I can delete this mupanel.java file. I don't need it. I'm not going to have a panel. Okay. However, that's going to say now we're going to have some errors because in my MU frame I have these references to the MU panel. Well, I don't have that anymore. So all I need to do is I can delete those lines. So I can delete this declaration, and then down in the constructor I can delete these 2 lines. Now if I run the program, okay, I have no MU panel, but then it's okay. I can then go back to the designer and I can add things from my controls over here, the swing controls. Okay, so I can add a button, and I can add a text field, and I can put a label in front of that field. And then if I run the program, okay, here I have a text field. I can type in there, hello, and I can click the button, right? So I can do the entire area then is usable for these controls. Okay. Now, I've started a program like this in this other project. So let's close that one and let me open up this muframe.java. Okay, and notice that what I've done is I've added several labels and several text fields, 3 labels, 3 text fields, a button, and a text area. Now I want to show you this. If I click on this thing here, notice that it is a JText field. I'm looking at the properties area now. It's a JText field called name field. So I gave it a name. What I did is I right-clicked on it and chose change the variable name. I called it name field. Okay, here is the integer field, which is also a text field, and the double field. So those are the 3 names that I gave to my text fields. Text fields, okay, are 1-line user interface things where you can type in 1 line of text. And you can use you can edit it and so on, but it's only for 1 line, and typically we use it for 1 value or a sentence or something like that. And then I had a button here called process the data. Notice that's a J button. Okay, but then this big area down here is not a text field, it's a text area. Okay, so you want to make sure that you use a text area for output. Text area allows you to have multi-line output for your program. So that's what we want in this particular example. So what I want to do is I would like to have the user fill in their name, enter an integer, and enter a double, and then down here I'm going to print a message in the text area. By the way, the name is output area, I called it. So in the output area I am going to print a message that shows the sum of the numbers, the integer plus the double. Okay, now so I can double click on the button, and that goes to this is the process data button action performed that I already did. Okay, and so this is what we would do. So first of all, I need to retrieve the contents of the text fields that the user typed in. So these 3 lines would call the getText method of each of the text fields. GetText takes whatever the user typed into that field and returns it, and I can store that in a string variable. Okay, so it always comes back as a string no matter what the contents are. So I'm declaring 3 local strings here: name, int value, and double value, and I am getting the text from each of these fields and storing that in those values. So now I can then the output area, if I say set text erases whatever was in that text area or text field and replaces it with whatever's in between the parentheses. And the \n represents a new line. So that's how you would be like pressing enter in a word processor to move to the beginning of the next line. Okay, so we have hello there, and then whatever the contents of name that was read from the user would be, and then a new line. Then with a text area, there's also a method called append, and append leaves whatever was in the text area in that screen user interface item and adds the new thing onto the end. So it appends it to the end of whatever the contents would be. So after that first line that was printed, I'm appending another new line, which means that would skip a blank line. And then a third append here for the output area, where I'm saying the sum of int value and double value is, and then I'm going to specify this addition problem inside parentheses and print a new line. Okay, so whatever we type in, when we click the button, we'll retrieve those values. It'll say hello there, so and so. The sum of whatever the integer and whatever the double would be is, and then we're going to print the sum. Well, that's our attempt. We'll see what happens. If I run this, okay, here I have my form here, and so I can say, I don't know, Sam. Whoops, I had caps lock on. Sam the student. Okay, enter an integer. Oh, I don't know, 125 is a nice integer. Enter a double, 3.75. Okay, now what would you think the sum should be? You'd think it would be 128.75, right? Well, when I process the data, didn't get the right answer. But it gave me what I actually asked for. Okay, so if you think about this, let's look at the code. Oops, well, it's too big to look at the code. I was going to try to look at both at the same time, but maybe I can do it this way. Okay, so the sum of 125 and 3.75 is, now what does the plus sign mean in this parentheses? Well, but since int value and double value are both strings, it doesn't mean addition, it means join them back to back with no intervening spaces. And so 125, 375 with no space in between looks like this. Okay, so we need a way to convert the string that is being retrieved from the text field, convert it into an integer. And then the same thing here, convert this string into a double value so that we can have numeric values and we can use that for addition. So I'll end this video here, and then the next video will show that conversion process and how you have to do it in Java, because you're going to need that for programming assignment 4, we are going to need to convert input that the user is typing into a text field into numeric data. Okay, so the next video will show how to do that.